Alright, so magbabalik tayo sa ating violin tips and tricks. And for today's video, I want to talk about listening and looking at recordings. Yan. I believe it's one of those things na very overlooked, no? When it comes to music, no? Hindi masyadong tinitignan as part of a routine or a practice regimen yung listening to recordings, but it gives a lot of upside, pero syempre may mga downsides din tayong pag-uusapan about listening and looking at videos and recordings of certain pieces. Yan. So, I always like to think na musicians are closely related to athletes. Diba? Lagi ko naman yung sinasabi. And if you look at how athletes train, kasama yun sa training nila, no? Which is film or yung panonood ng performances nila or performances of the other, let's say sa basketball team, their competitors, di ba? Pinapanood nila yun to scout out their opponents, not just for them to know what you're gonna do, but also look at themselves, no? Kung ano yung magiging reaction nila, ano yung mga nagawa nila before na kailangan nilang i-improve, no? And as musicians, we can also use this, no? Yung panonood or pakikinig sa mga recordings of, musicians that you idolize or you want to copy, no? Copy in a sense na gagayahin mo yung interpretation nila, and also listening to yourself after your performances. Yan. So hatiin natin sa dalawa. Listening to other people's recordings and listening to your recordings. Yan. So bakit nga ba napaka-importante nito, no? Kasi if we are going to learn a piece and we want to quickly understand the flow of the music, how it works, no? If we just look at it, no, on the score, konti lang yung makikita natin. I mean, if you know how to hear what you see, no, as a musician, then good. Pero there are many subtle things na hindi na nakasulat doon na you can only find if you listen to recordings. Yeah. So, yung mga rubatos, hindi mo naman alam kung gaano kahaba or gaano kaiksi yung kailangan mong gawin. The exact tempo changes that you can do, no? And of course, the interpretation of the whole thing. Makikita mo lang yun kapag na-perform mo na siya or na-perform na siya ng ibang tao and you look at it, no? So, listening to recordings and looking at how they are playing it can help a lot in speeding up your progress in learning new music, no? And also old music na aral mo na, no? Things that you already learned, no? Nabibigyan ka ng bagong insights, bagong karagdagang information on how you can do certain things. For example, yung pag-shift niya from one position to another on that certain piece or using a different string for the same note, no? For example, yung iba, ganun yung ginagawa, di ba? So, you have more ideas to expand on. Kasi nga, learning music is a lifelong journey, di ba? Hindi naman talaga natatapos yan once you performed one, no? Yan. Pero, let's talk about the downsides naman. So, downside of learning through recordings is of course, medyo mababox in ka or malilimit yung creativity mo. Why? Because if you listen to certain recordings, you will associate that piece with that recording, no? So, you will almost think na ito lang yung only way that you can play that certain piece, no? Magiging bias ka na dun sa recording na yon. So parang, since favorite mong musician yung tumugtog, parang yun na lang yung gagayahin mo at gagayahin mo na lang siya ng paulit-ulit, no? Parang malilimit yung creativity mo. Pero, you can also combat that by what? By listening to 2 or 3 or even a lot more recordings of the same piece, no? Parang mabigyan ka ng idea na maraming possibilities. And with those ideas, you can come up with your own, diba? So, yun yung maganda sa recordings. Pag narinig mo na siya, and as musicians, you would have to train for good ears, di ba? Para magkaroon ka ng good ears, kasama talaga sa training yung pakikinig. And if you listen closely to those things, mas mabilis kang makapag-memorize, mas mabilis mo maintindihan yung ginagawa dun sa music, no? Rather than just seeing it, the piece lang or the score lang yung binabasa mo, no? If you can listen to it, mas mabilis mong matatransfer yung iniisip mo sa playing mo. And it's gonna be easier for you to learn the piece. Much faster mo siyang ma-memorize and ma-analyze, diba? Pero, yun nga, baka mag-stick ka doon kung paano sila nagrurubato, hindi mo nagagawin yung sarili mong interpretation, or you could end up doing techniques na parang way out of your league. You can say that, no? Baka minsan may mga techniques silang ginagawa for certain pieces na hindi naman kailangan, pero dahil narinig mo na maganda doon, yun na yung lagi mong pinapractice, but you're missing certain points na mas madaling gawin na ganito, mas eksakto, mas accurate yung intonation, for example, pero hindi mo na ginagawa dahil you're fixated on one recording. So, listen to a lot of recordings if you're gonna go this path, diba? Kung ito yung tatahakin mong path, if you need to learn something very, very quick, is to listen to their recordings, pero damihan mo para may comparison ka. If you find that one is better than the other, diba? May makukuha kang ideas on all of this. And this will in turn give you more creativity to do what you need. But of course, everything that we do, no, especially sa classical world, no, should always give parang justice to what the composer is intending to have done, di ba? So, meron kang creative freedom, but you have to keep it closely resembling kung ano yung nakasulat. So, you always need to follow what's written, pero you have a lot of things that you can actually add your own twist to it, di ba? So, yun, mas madedevelop yun. Magkakaroon ka ng iba't ibang reference and just find what's good, no? Baka sa first part, maganda yung sa recording ni ganito, maganda yung sa recording ni ganito, yung cadenza niya, maganda yung mga beaten, edi kunin mo yung mga parts na yun, and then create your own out of that, no? Parang you're inspired by those passages, or you're inspired by the way they played it, diba? Yun, magandang simulain kung bago ka pa lang na nag-aaral ng mga complex pieces, diba? Kasi it takes a lot of experience to be able to play musically, diba? Hindi naman siya talaga lahat natuturo, no? Some comes from your own experiences, no? As you grow older, mas marami kang nakikita, marami kang na-experience, marami kang nararamdamang emotions, diba? Ayan. So, it can help you by listening to other people's playing. Now, let's talk about listening to your own recording. Ayan. So, akala kasi ng iba na practice can only be done with your instrument. And we know that you can also do mental practice. And listening is also a part of practice, no? It's not supposed to substitute, di ba? Akala nyo iba parang, okay, kung nag-mental practice ako, hindi ko na kailangan mag-physical practice. Hindi ko na kailangan mag-listening. No. There's a lot more things that is happening to your body, no? Hindi lang naman yun yung ginagawa mo, no? So, a lot of things influence whatever you're doing in your life. So, if you listen to yourself, you have this opportunity to understand yourself from the perspective of another person. Kasi, pinapanood mo na yung sarili mo. And if you're doing this, no, listening to your own recordings, trying to find things you can improve on, you will improve drastically. Kasi, naririnig mo na, na-experience ko to. Kunwari, yung recital mo, ni-record mo, di ba? And then, if you listen to your recital, parang may makikita ka na, dito sa part na to, kailangan ganito yung gawin ko, no? Babaguhin mo yun. So, papracticein mo. And you already know the feeling kasi ginawa mo na siya before. So, you know what to change directly, pero coming from another point of view or perspective, which is yourself din, di ba? Yun yung maganda doon. Kaya, importante na nire-record din natin yung sarili natin and we listen to it so that we understand how our body is evolving, how we are changing, how our music tendencies are changing as well, di ba? Mas madali mo ngayon masasabi sa sarili mo na, okay, since nakikita mo na siya, andyan na siya sa harap mo, di ba? Pangit yung intonation ko dito, so I should practice this. Or, dito masyado ako mabagal, so I should practice this. So yun, mas madali mong naiintindihan. And of course, yun nga lang, may mga drawbacks nga kasi it's not always good, especially if you're learning it na parang nagbi-build ka pa lang. Parang magkakaroon ka na nga agad kasi ng biases, no? When you're listening to recordings ng paulit-ulit, no? Nagkakaroon ka ng ito lang yung pwede kong gawin, ito lang yung pwede kong gawin. So, if you're really going to practice something and you really need to learn it quick, it's a good idea to listen to recordings, no? But if you have the time, what I do kasi, if I have the time to really learn it from the ground up, I don't listen to recordings that much. Siguro first time makikinig ako ng recording just to get the flow of the music. And then, I build it. No? And if nakompleto ko na siya, that's the time I record myself, and that's the time that I listen to other recordings. Kasi, andun eh, yun lang man yung binibuild mo, yung music, di ba? That's technically what you need to learn. Because when you're building technique, that's a totally different thing, no? Kasi if you're gonna listen, it's quick, but meron ding pagka-short term kasi you're already past the process of building, no? Parang meron ka na agad big picture when in fact the smaller picture or the smaller chunks of your practice is not yet fully developed. Yun. So, if you really need to learn something quick, what a good advice is to listen to a lot of recordings of the same piece, no? And also listen to, if you're learning something from a new composer, listen to some of the other music that the composer did as well. Parang meron ka ring idea of how much freedom or how much creativity you can add to your pieces. Ayan. So, I hope you learned something new on this video. If you did, like this video, share this video, comment down below for more topics that you want me to discuss. And of course, my course on Udemy is still available. Check it out. Follow me on all my socials, links down in the description box below. And I'll see you on the next video.